I'm Ron Suskind. I'm currently the Senior Fellow at Harvard Center for Ethics. That's where I'm writing my books from now. And this is my sixth book. I've written 5 books. This is number 6. I was the Wall Street Journal's senior national affairs writer through the 90s up until 2000. Since then, it's been all books, often about America's role in the world, exercises of power, uses of power, often misuses. This book is quite different. I think readers of all 5 books will see links between all of them that express themselves in this one, but it's about, at least at the top level, autism. It's also a personal story because my son is autistic. He's 22 now, Owen, and my wife and I have been ankle deep, then knee deep, then neck deep in autism for over 2 decades now. And we've seen what I think many people are calling a kind of signature disorder of this era. And more that we learn about autism, the more we realize that understanding autism is in a way how to understand the brain. And that is an evolving area of both science and sort of new mysteries at this point. So the book will have a very powerful personal story of our family and our son and other kids. You know, it's not just him. He has met many other kids just like him as he's grown into a community of like-minded young people. And as well, it will get to the wider issues, the wider societal issues of how we look at people who are a little different, how we define disorder, how in a sort of wider societal fashion we decide to engage or not. And I think at the heart of this book there will be, I think, an understanding, a framing, maybe an elegy to the power of story. That really has been a defining feature, certainly of my whole life. I've been telling stories since I'm, you know, this tall. Well, I'm not much taller now, but, you know, since I'm a little kid, to make sense of the world. And there's actually an evolving understanding of how we all shape confusing reality into narrative. And sometimes it creates conflict with competing and tendentious narratives that can't look at the same fact in the same way. But other times I think it helps us get context in terms of the lives we lead. And I think the thing that's been most fascinating about this book is to see this community of young people, my son one of them, but many of them now, more and more as we go forward, who are really the left behind community. They have issues of not being able to understand what you say, auditory processing they call that, an inability to contextualize as the brain does almost instantly, starting when we're little kids. But at the same time, they have capacities. And I think what's interesting is how this community of kids that we're looking at, my son and the others, how they have capacities that all of us share, at least in some fashion, but in their cases they're heightened, of pattern recognition. They're very good at that. You know, they see patterns where you and I just see noise. And what's interesting is I found that in terms of story and the way we humans are, we've been telling ourselves stories since the dawn of time to make our way in the world, the way they've used story to create a set of patterns, if you will, for living their lives. And it's something that snuck up on us late in the project when we looked at all the different, often animated movies that Owen and his friends use to sort of see subtle and often deeper and to us barely visible or invisible verities that they tease out viewing after viewing and use them as a kind of map to go forward in the world. And as somebody who publicly has been telling stories for 30 years, give or take, for the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or in all my books, what's fascinating is how much I've learned from this community that's been left behind, that has no place at the table, as to maybe how to do what I do better. So that's part of what's nice about it. So as a writer, you know, I couldn't ask for more than Bellagio offers. I mean, it's just, it's a sort of a cloud city. It's a dream atop of these cliffs and lakes. But beyond that, I think what's fascinating about this place is we're talking about this the other night at dinner, it's kind of a chance encounter in a group. You know, these chance encounters you have in your life, you're like, well, that was the important thing, and I met this guy or this woman, or we're here, and we talked about this, and that started everything. Well, here you've got it kind of engineered, where you've got a chance encounter in groups of 12, 15, 20. And the energy that flows from that is, well, you know, it's full of improvisation. It can't be measured or predicted, and that's the loveliness of it. It moves and breathes, and day by day, week by week, I'm here for a month, you see, you know, worlds open.